talk you through something here on why I have these tire cribs or wheel stands or tire stands, whatever people call them. I like to use these a lot more often than I like to use the jack stands. The question is why? Well, sometimes you're working on a car that maybe, the jack stands are a little sketchy underneath, or you're working in a garage much like this one that is not a 100% level floor. And the problem with using jack stands on a non-level floor, well, you get the idea, okay? The car might wobble. That's not what you want. With these, the tire cribs, and they don't work in every instance when you're working on a car. Sometimes, yes, you do need jack stands. Like if I'm doing a brake job, I can't use those, obviously. With these, the beauty is that the entire car is safely resting basically like it would be on the ground because you're creating all 4 points of contact for the tires. Okay, they're very easy to build. Do not go too wide in between your tire to tire touching spot because otherwise the entire thing is just going to be resting on here and it really won't help as much as if you have that. And I've got these pretty low, okay, for this car, which really is only a few inches off the ground. And I'm probably going to add another board on each side, this way and this way, to make this about 1.5 inches, another board higher. Because when I'm under that car, it's beautiful not to have the engine touching your tip of your nose when you're trying to work on something. So, just wanted to give you a quick tip on these. And, I mean, they're real easy to build. So my measurement's 14 inches by 10 inches. Okay, 14 by 10. I think most cars could get away with that. If you're working on like a big truck tire, you might want to space that out a little bit differently. Build one. Check it. Don't build all 4 without checking one of them on your car first. Got the jack lined up, and I'll show you how easy this is. Let it down slowly. Now you can see the car is up much further now. And these sit in there quite nicely. And I'm gonna go do the backside too, but hey, rinse and repeat. You guys know what I'm doing. About 6 inches higher than this car normally sits, which makes it easy enough to get to the bottom side, do some oil changes, get to the tie rods and axles and all that. It's basically chalked in each direction. You got to use these front and back of the tire. Don't put the tallest side to side. Put the front and the back like that. So that it can't roll forward or backward on you. All 4 tires are like that. This is basically just as good as being on level ground, which I've explained earlier. My slab's not necessarily level, so I like to have all 4 tires instead of the jack points, okay? Especially on older, crustier cars. Maybe the jack points aren't necessarily looking so great anymore, so you don't trust them with a jack stand. And you want to do this. Highly recommend for the, few bucks that wood can cost you, or if you got some random 2x4s laying around, go ahead and make yourself some of these. They work amazing. I've seen people build them up twice as high, which might be something I go for sooner or later. That does present a challenge on super low cars because by the time you jack the front up and put it on these, it might be too high to get to the jack point on the backside, which is what just happened to me because the car was, now tilted like that. Front was higher. I actually couldn't get my jack to slide under the back of the car far enough to get to the jack point. So, something to think about when you're building these, and hopefully you go about doing it. Honestly, they've been great for me in my garage. I like using them every time I'm doing an oil change, every time I'm doing something on the underside of this. One's actually got its oil pan pulled. I'm going to be doing the bearing change on it. Let's see if I can get you in there. Yeah, see, I'm all wide open right there. So, it's nice to have this up in the air, not have to worry about jack stands being in the way, because honestly, the jack stands, they would be a little bit more inward set than the tires are. So they're kind of in the way when you're sliding around under the car. So in order to avoid that, these tire cradles, wheel cradles, tire risers, whatever you want to call them. Highly recommend you make yourself a set of those. It only takes 15 minutes to screw them all together and cut them up.